this is Julycanthropy Day 2, Transformation. So this was a fairly quick little draw. I did it in about 30 minutes. I was closing in on midnight and I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't have much time and I was exhausted as well. So I was going fast and not going hard, I admit. The plan for this piece, when I had a plan for a whole piece, was that he was going to be ripping his shirt off and clawing into a tree behind him. I didn't do the background, but it was supposed to be essentially just a forest, tree trunks and the dark between them, and he was supposed to be ripping his shirt off during the transformation. That did not end up happening. My need for sleep outweighed my need to draw, and I have no regrets, I admit. So I end up drawing the claw marks in the tree, but I don't draw the tree itself. I'm also drawing legs now, as you can see, and I drew human legs to start. I end up drawing digitigrade legs later. As long as I've been drawing digitigrade legs, I've done them in a very specific way, and I don't actually like it very much, and it might in part be because it's anatomically incorrect. The upper leg should be shorter, the calf should be longer, the foot should be a little bit shorter, but not as much shorter as the upper leg, and the toes should be longer, but not as much longer as the calf needs to be. Obviously, there's a lot of leeway when it comes to anthropomorphization, but I've just exaggerated it more and more as time went on, and I don't like the direction I've taken it. I don't also like the face I did. The anthropomorphization I've done on that was supposed to be kind of halfway between human and wolf, and I don't think it works very well, but the fun fact about having something in the middle of transforming means that it doesn't have to look good because it's in the middle of something. That's my excuse. I had some trouble with that arm because the foreshortening and perspective on it is kind of weird. He's supposed to be reaching behind himself to be clawing into the tree trunk, and I don't think I pulled that off, but as there's no tree trunk there at the end of the day, it's fine. I spend too much time on these hands. I didn't need to spend as much time on them as I did because I'm going to erase all of this in a minute, and also because it didn't look good. So I pulled that mirror out to see how he looked mirrored. The arm was bad, which I can see in retrospect. I kind of gave up on the tree and reaching backwards idea and didn't know what to do with that hand, so I went on and did the other one, which is supposed to be ripping his shirt off. I end up not drawing the shirt. There's a gap there, I don't know why, and I got the hand back behind him again. I decided I still was stuck on that idea, and that's what I ended up with. I'm really glad I gave him like capris though, because figuring out jeans with those feet would have sucked. You will note we were about 2 minutes into this video. I do a second piece, don't worry, don't worry. Julycanthropy Day 4, Silver. There is, I believe, a better day for this concept, the concept of this image, but I didn't remember it at the time, and I don't remember what it is now, so that's a shocker. And I wouldn't have known if I was going to do that day anyway, so might as well do it this day, right? The concept I went with was that he had just been shot through the shoulder, so he's holding it. He's bent forward and he's looking ragged and tired. You may note that I'm holding the book closed at this point. That's because the clips that hold it closed normally are now at the point where they're too small to hold the pages closed, so I have to hold it closed myself. So this piece was not originally intended as a mock-up, but I do end up redrawing it because I didn't like it. So I'm going to call it a mock-up to make it sound like I know more about what I'm doing than I do. Because I know so well what I'm doing, I erase half of what I just did and move on to something else entirely. This man in silhouette was not originally planned as part of this piece, but I added him to give some visual interest to the foreground and also to make it look like I hadn't accidentally just stuck a dude directly in the middle of the page, but hey, I did, which for composition is not great. I did intend for this man to be in silhouette, so the fact that I actually put some detail into the lines of his collar and the cuffs of his sleeve was entirely pointless. I pulled out my tablet at this point after taking a picture of my original full moon image because I realized that, hey, that image is in the same book. I can't use it as a reference without flipping back and forth. So my tablet's to the side with a bigotized version of his face, which I'm using as reference, poorly. Is it the thought that counts in this case, or is it the outcome? I don't know. Drawing any specifically exaggerated face is going to cause your proportions to change because you're mashing your face in a different way, and that makes it hard to use a neutral face as reference, but you have to have the neutral face as reference or you've got nothing, so that's a bit of a conundrum. Ultimately, the face is why I go full steam ahead on screwing this up, because I end up coloring this poorly, and I didn't care how poorly I colored it because I was just like, the face doesn't make me happy, it's fine. I struggle with the hands again and change them ultimately in the final image. They start out as kind of claws, like a half-transformed sort of version of a hand and a claw, but I couldn't get it right. I wanted them to be larger than the average human hand, but then I wanted them to be gnarly and knobbly, and it just didn't work out. I also end up drawing him holding a gun because he's been hit by a silver bullet, but I didn't know how, if the man was still there who had shot him, was he still alive? So I had it so that he had stolen the gun. How he managed that, I have no idea, and me drawing that gun was just the biggest pain in the mule. I pulled out the book I have on handguns, and I just drew the handgun that was on the cover. It's a revolver. I don't know anything else about it. Because I didn't think about how the perspective would look, and I just drew the gun, it ends up looking like it's intersecting with his leg in a weird way. This is what happens when you don't plan shame and just add elements randomly. You get weird shame happening. I switched to a normal mechanical pencil to do my inking bunny ears. I didn't want to do it in actual pen because it felt wrong to do so. I don't know why, but I did it in mechanical pencil. The normal pencils I use are 7H hardness. The mechanical pencils I use have HB lead, so they just come out so much darker, so much faster. That's why I don't sketch with them. It is easier to erase, but it just comes out so much darker that it's kind of rough to sketch with. I do add his shirt in this image, go me. I had more time, and I had a lot more time. I did this in the afternoon, and I actually wanted to get it right. Right here meaning that I followed the mock-up plan that I did in full moon, or new moon twist if you saw that batter up, which very few people did. This is where I go full steam ahead and kind of ruin it. Not like terribly, but not great. I wanted to do the color of his pants, which are sort of a grayish blue-green, and I also wanted to do the silhouette in a color that just wasn't pencil lead. That was not the right plan. This could have looked a lot better if I had bothered to actually sharpen these colored pencils. They're not bad. I couldn't be filth. I don't know why. And then coloring in large blocks of any color, including black, is always going to take a minute. Then I moved on to doing his hands and his shirt in white for some reason. His hair is red. I kind of knew what I wanted him to look like when I first did full moon in color. I just didn't do new moon twist in color. I got blood on his hands because I tried to make his hands kind of brownish so that it would look like fur. His skin was not supposed to be that yellow, which is why I went in with another color. And then because I didn't sharpen my pencils, there was really no way to blend them. The lines were just so thick. Anyway, my thought was that he is a Polynesian mix. There are a lot of Polynesian people where I live, and so I was trying to go for that color of skin. I didn't manage. I should have been less lazy and found different colors of colored pencil. I just wanted to only use this one though, so I did. Don't let lazy ruin your art, kids. That's my piece of advice. I feel like because of the way the ear looks, he actually looks more like a goblin than a werewolf, so, you know, problems everywhere. So here we begin the final piece. You will note I do not put him dead filling in center. I do manage to mess up the composition anyway in a different way, but that's for later. I'm using the same basic position, hunched over with his hand on his shoulder because that's where he's been shot, and I am doing a better underbody sketch than I did before, so it's less of a mess when I get to it. I add in the silhouette guy a lot earlier. I still do work on his cuffs and his collar because I just can't not. I don't know why. I do love how fast and easy silhouette hands are though. My goodness, it's great. I do not do any lighting on this piece, which means Silhouette Man remains white. I don't know why I didn't just color him in with pencil, but I didn't. Another piece of advice, actually make sure that your arms are in position before you do the details of the hand, because I end up messing around with the details of the shoulder and the arm after this in an attempt to keep that hand, and I don't remember if I do keep that hand or not. But I was quite pleased with how the gun came out. I still didn't manage to make it not intersect with the leg though. Some things you just see too late. So then I go back to the body using the sketch I had underneath, which again was quite helpful. And I do end up still having to redraw some stuff because despite having that under sketch, it was not perfect. And my sketches never are, but there you go. I couldn't figure out how to get one leg going out to support him in like a splayed stance because he's off balance, but I got okay, I guess. I'm not in love with it. His back leg, his left or right, is too long. I finish off the legs and move to the hands, which are entirely human because I had so little enjoyment and so disliked the outcome of doing those monster hands that I didn't do it again. I pull up my reference and I put it much closer to my face, which actually was quite helpful. The face that I am drawing, not my own face. It's about the same distance from my own face. But it did help having it closer because I had to do less like memory translation. Some people are better at that than I can. They can do a lot more stuff from memory than I can. I still end up not loving this face. You see me pull out the mirror to see that I'm getting it right. I do that more in this piece than I ended up in the last one because I was like, that was not good, that last piece. Let's try some other things. What's on my tablet now is actually a image of dog expressions so that I could get this one right. And it's different than a human anger expression, and I figured if I was going partially transformed and I wasn't going to do the hands, then I might as well do something. I do work with dogs and I am familiar with dog aggression faces. I don't see the aggression faces that often though because I don't piss dogs off because I'm not stupid, but but there you go. I realized at about this point that my guy is basically just a column at the side of the page who is tangenting with the top of the page, and I was unhappy with that, but couldn't fix it with the energy I had left for this piece. I'd drawn it twice, I was done. I didn't want to do this anymore. I wasn't gonna do it again, certainly. So this is where we end up. It's acceptable. I don't love the legs, I don't love any of it, really. I think the face is fine. It's definitely better than the first one. Success?